So, welcome everyone. This is Veronica Lopez, Business Counselor Manager at Pace Business. Today's webinar topic is Bank of America's Business Fundamentals Series. It's 4 parts out of a 5-part session. Today's topic is growing a business. I will be your host. I'm substituting, filling in for Irene Cho. So, I'm glad to be able to be part of the series. And today's guest speaker is Valerie Rivas with VP of Small Business Community Officer at Bank of America. And before we get started, just do a short introduction about PACE. We do this during every webinar. And this just to help for anyone who's new to PACE. So first, housekeeping items. So everyone's on listening mode. I know Valerie likes to keep it nice and interactive. So if there's an opportunity, you like to raise your hand and get off mute, or if there's a question that needs a more detailed explanation, let us know. And then we'll also let you know if there are opportunities to do that. There's a Q&A section where you can enter your questions. There's also the chat box. Feel free to enter questions there. I'll be monitoring both. Oh, Valerie, I meant to ask you, would you like the questions throughout or like to keep them until the end of today's session?
They can ask throughout. And then there's the Q&A. There's a Q&A, and then there's a chat box that you can
Okay.
leverage. And then if you really want to unmute yourself, then raise your hand, and then I'll go ahead and call on you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And today's webinar is being recorded. You can visit our e-library to get a copy of that. We kindly encourage you to please fill out the survey at the end of the webinar. It gives us great feedback and also helps um, with the programming for future years, and just want to make sure that we're providing content that is of value to you and that you can walk away with something that can help and benefit your business. So Pace Development Center has been around since 1993, and its mission is to advance the wealth of our communities by giving individuals the tools to develop sustainable businesses and manage their personal and business finances successfully. So PACE has many designations. I specifically work with the City of Los Angeles BusinessSource Center. We cover the region of Pico-Union Westlake, and my counterpart here at PACE covers the Hollywood region. PACE also oversees Procure LA, which is the City of Los Angeles Procurement Services, so contract support. We have a lot of different programming from the county, through our Women's Business Center, through the state, through Cal OSPA, the Government's Office of Small Business and Economic Development, uh, lovingly called GoBiz. And then we also have a Minority Business Development Center which helps with procurement service. On the lending side, we have, we're certified as CDFI. I do want to touch about what a CDFI is. So a CDFI it's not a it's not a traditional financial institution like a bank or a credit union. So we are meant to complement financial institutions like Bank of America. So if someone is just starting a business, a CDFI would be a good place to start because you're receiving technical assistance, and then you may be able to get a small loan. Our loans are as small as $500. So, if clients have used that to purchase a laptop, to purchase a small inventory, or even packaging for their business. And so our range is much smaller than Bank of America. We're 500 to 350,000, but we also help package the loans. So that's a benefit in how we complement. We hope that you outgrow the CDFI and hopefully apply with the loan with Bank of America or a larger financial institution. Okay, so we are also an SBA lender, and we are a CalCap lender, which means we seek out the state guarantee for our loans. Okay. Uh, I want to encourage you to take advantage of all of the services provided by PACE, so one-on-one consulting. We have an entrepreneur training program, which also Valerie is a guest speaker. I can't remember which topic you covered, but I do know that you're speaker for, I think, for the accounting. Is that right, Valerie?
I don't think accounting. I think the next one is our pivoting a small business.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
So she's part of our entrepreneur training program. And then we also have business courses, such as the one you're attending today, small business financing, like I mentioned, and then employee hiring and workforce development. So if you are a business and you're thinking about hiring employees, you already know who you're going to hire, or you're seeking help to hire employees. We have a City of Los Angeles Workforce Center. They provide on-the-job training. They have its incentive program that covers the employee's salary, half of the employee's salary for um, 3 to 6 months. So yeah, if you would like to learn more about that program, let me know. So here are some upcoming webinars, but I do want to encourage everyone to finish today's series. So part 5 is on Wednesday, April 9th, which is next week. And then we start a new series with which I find this title funny. More money, fewer problems. The inside scoop of business loans by Gentleman's Capital Advisors. Okay, you can feel free to go ahead and scan the QR code there. But if you're already part of our e-newsletter or if you attended today's webinar, you will be continuing to receive different programming from us. So thank you. So with that, I would like to, because I know you've been with Valerie for some time now, I'd like to pass it on to Valerie to share her screen. So thank you everyone for being here. And I'll be hosting and also keeping track of the Q&A in the chat.
Wonderful, wonderful. And thank you so much, Veronica, for your continued partnership. And of course, Pace for being such a great partner and bringing the resources, all the different resources that they have available. Make sure that you're leveraging, they're there for you to use and also scale up your business. As we mentioned, we don't work against each other with Pace. We actually work alongside to bring the resources and the funding that you need. So make sure that you're leveraging us as resources. But for those of you that don't know me, again, thank you again. My name is Valerie Rivas. I'm Vice President for Business Community Engagement here in Southern California, primarily in Los Angeles County. And pretty much what I do on a day-to-day basis is I provide financial education, resources, and more importantly, access to capital options. So you may find yourself, maybe you're at a startup stage, or maybe you grew way too fast and maybe are having some cash flow issues and you're needing some sort of funding. Definitely in the right place, and make sure that you are able to get the resources necessary for you to go to the next level and not overgrow yourself where you're not able to move forward. Now, in the meantime, as I'm speaking, I do want to get a grasp of who I have today in this workshop. So if you could please, while I'm speaking, let me know your name, your business, if you're starting off, how long you've been in business, any information that can kind of help me to kind of give you examples and make sure that I'm guiding you appropriately. So it'd be nice to see who we have here. Let's see. In addition to that, I've been in the finance industry for 21 years. And I've been serving entrepreneurs and business owners like yourself for the last 15, and I've been with Bank of America for over 10 years. So definitely in the right place. As I mentioned, anything that you need, please let us know. Veronica, Irene, myself, see how we can help you scale up your business. All right, so let's see who we have. Hello, Ezekiel, welcome. Let's hear from South Africa. Oh, wow, we have international visitors. I love it. Let's see, new business, home healthcare. Okay, perfect. Thank you for sharing, Arama. So new business, you're probably going to have some startup costs. So we'll definitely talk about alternative ways of financing in the event that your bank is not approving you. We'll make sure that you leave today with some resources to know where to get funding if necessary. Desiree here, opening a business in 2025. Not yet launched. Well, congratulations on making that move. We have Vanessa Cedillo as a VP. Awesome. MDJ Custom Painting Contractor. Okay, let's see. 593 Park Place Management. Looks like it might be a management company. In business 7 years. Awesome. Leticia, Diane Photography. Awesome. Thank you. Hi, my name is Nee. I am a Taylor. Oh, I messed up. Where did it go? Taylor, and I'm opening a storefront Studio City this month. Wow, congratulations. Feel free to share any information. Somebody may be in Studio City that might need a tailor. I actually was just thinking I have some pants and some dresses that I need to cut short because I'm a short person. I'm 5 feet. I know I might look tall, but I'm not. Ray Walker, LA, new division of business, over 10-year-old manufacturing. That's amazing. We're actually looking to partner up with a nonprofit that does caters to manufacturers, I would love to stay connected to make sure to let you know about that event that might cater to your industry. Let's see. Valentina from Los Angeles, open a creative audiovisual studio. I love how diverse these different industries are. Joe, new business with my son, printing custom shirts and merchandise for companies. Actually, Joe, I heard that that business is actually really great with the creativity that's coming along. So great job. I know that social media might be a great spot to advertise. So congratulations on that. We have Dawn, world-class sports celebrity talent agency, Marina del Rey, Franken Enterprises, Para Events, entrepreneur. Ooh, looks like a lot of different business, marketing, sales, sports, film, serial entrepreneur. Dawn, I love it. You are growing our economy. Business coach and mentor, currently running a cosmetic store. Feel free to network if you see anything here that you need. We definitely want to create a network and a community and where we can support each other, and we all have the pretty much the same mentality, right? We're all trying to grow our business. We're all here for the same reasons. So connecting with like-minded individuals is always a great idea. TeleUp Solutions, consulting services for solar power and private matter. Love it. Annetta Sparks, owner of Loving Hearts Private Care and Transportation. Loving Hearts Mothers and Daughters and Unity in Culver City. Awesome. I love it. Well, I love everybody's participation. So I could already tell this is going to be a great crowd and great class. So I'm excited for today. So let's go ahead and jump on it. Okay, so growing a small business. Now, let me tell you a little story. And actually, Veronica and I were just talking about it earlier. And what we want to make sure is don't be afraid to get into good debt. Okay. Now, growing a small business, it obviously is sometimes it's going to take money, right? It depends on your overhead, but for the most part, especially if you're starting off or if you're trying to grow your business, a lot of the times you are going to need money. And that's just the reality. You've probably heard the saying, it takes money to make money. And the reality of it is that you do have to sometimes borrow money. But what we want to learn today is when we're borrowing money to make sure what kind of impact that's going to do for your business. So I'll tell you a little story. I had a construction company a few years ago, and he was kind of like one of my clients that's like, "Oh, Valerie, I know, I know, I know." And I said, "Okay, but you are growing at a rapid pace, and you need to take a look at your operations of what you can actually improve, or let's sit down together and explore." He's like, "No, I'll take a look at it. I'll take a look at it." Well, he actually listened to me one day, and he took a look at his business plan, and he took a look at how much he was actually spending for his water truck. Now, he said, "You know what? I want to take on more projects, but the cash is just like, I'm not collecting as fast enough." And so he was just like, "I need to figure something out." I said, "Well, it sounds like you may need a line of credit and explore what you may need money for so that you can replace that money with maybe additional revenue or profits." So he ended up finding out that if he bought a water truck, he found one for I think it was almost 100,000 or a little bit over 100,000. So he only needed to borrow 100,000 from us, and I forgot what his payment was, but it was over $1,000. And he said, "Valerie, if I go ahead and get this loan, not only am I going to save money on each project because now I have my own water truck, but two, I'm going to increase my net profit by $150,000. So not only was he already profitable, but by obtaining this loan, he was going to grow his profits and be even more profitable than he already was. We also got him a line of credit as he was expecting a lot of receivables, but they were not paying him on time. He was getting paid, but they were just not paying fast enough. So we were able to get him a line of credit, but then we were also able to increase his net profit by obtaining this loan. So I want you to start thinking about, and I encourage you, eventually we're going to have a cash flow management course. Very important, because cash flow management, if you understand your cash flow cycle, and how much time it takes you to make that money back, you will be in a better position to, one, in case you ever need to exit the business, to sell it and it actually is worth something, because they're going to take a look at your profits. But then also, in the meantime, being able to grow your business and see what it is able to do for your business. Now, a couple of objectives today is we're going to talk about managing business finances. So we're going to get a little bit into cash flow as well, and then common mistakes that small business owners make and how to avoid them. Okay. Now, there's 3 steps for managing business financing. And sometimes we may not like to do these. This is probably something that we don't really like to think about, right? But budgeting, savings, and managing your debt are very essential for you to be able to grow your business. Okay. Now, let's get into budgeting. And I will go ahead and send this over to Veronica, and she will go ahead and share this with you. And this is just a starting point of an example of what a of what a budget sheet might look like. Okay, so let me see here. Now let's get into this. So managing your business finances, on here, you're going to go based on the appropriate month. Let's just say, for the sake of the example, that we are in January. So at the beginning of the year, you're going to sit down and you're going to estimate what sales you're going to be bringing in. So on here, you're going to put in your sales, your services, and then any other type of revenue that you might be getting for your business. And we're going to count this as income. Okay. So on here, when it comes to income, we're going to tally it all up, place the number right here at the bottom at total income. And operating expenses, just keep in mind that your business might vary and it may be different expenses than others. So, matter of fact, we have a manufacturing company here today. We also have a home health facility, that they're going to be opening up. We have a tailor shop. So you got to understand that your business is not going to be the same as your next door neighbor. So it's very important that you tailor these operating expenses based on your industry. And if you're not 100% sure, because maybe you're starting up, then you may want to do a little bit of research so that you have an idea of, one, your startup costs if you are starting off, or two, what are some expenses that you should have in the normality of some of the expenses that you should have. In this particular type of example, they have payroll. It looks like they may have a storefront, so they have rent that they have to expense, equipment maintenance, supplies, insurance, licenses, telephone, utilities, credit cards, loan payments, advertising. You may want to also, maybe if you're a manufacturing company or distributing company, you may want to do inventory, or just tailor it based on your business. So that you may not have rent, so it's not something that you have to include, but you also want to make sure that you have an idea of what your expenses are going to be. Once you figure that out, you're going to budget for each one of them, and you're going to go ahead and add them all. And here at the end, you are going to put your expense total. Now, in the form of you answering in the chat, quick question for everybody here. If we go ahead and put the income total here minus the total expenses, so let's just say that right here, it's $5,000 and we subtract $6,000. So we're negative $1,000. Does this mean we're making money or losing money? Is this a good thing or a bad thing if we have a negative number? Because if you're negative 1,000, does that mean that you are losing money? Thank you so much, Adama, for answering. Thank you so much. Yes, that is absolutely correct. So this is why it's important for you to understand your cash flow cycle. Thank you, everyone. And yes, you should definitely, yes, exactly. Yes, I love everything so yes, absolutely. So we want to have a positive number on here. If you have a negative number, the first thing you want to do is take a look at this. And then also, if you have a profit and loss, take a look at your expenses and see what is the problem. What is the root cause? What root cause? One, is it maybe that you're just not bringing enough sales? Or two, is it that you're behind sales because you're not able to fulfill the orders in a timely manner? So maybe you may want to consider hiring additional employees so that you can support the sales that are coming in. But then also, it could be maybe that you are spending way too much money, maybe on rent. So you may want to consider a smaller space. Or it could be maybe that your workers' comp is outrageous. I had one client a long time ago that his workers' comp, it was almost half that we saved him. So he was paying like 24,000 and I think we ended up at like 13,000. So those are some things that you want to explore. So when your banker calls you, or even when different services call you, I mean, you may want to explore and see what else is out there. Maybe you're able to get a different service that is maybe a little bit more affordable. But just try to keep this number here at a positive number, because if you're at a positive number and the higher it is, this means that you are being profitable. And I think everybody here is in the business of making money, right? We're not here to lose money, we're here to make money. Yes, you can get a copy of the PowerPoint presentation, Janice. And when you provide financials to someone requesting, can it be an Excel sheet, or does it need to be more sophisticated or using a particular form? Jocelyn, I think that really depends on the lender. So, for example, us, we have some sole proprietorships that maybe don't have an accountant. And so they do everything manually. So we will accept here at the bank some manual uh handwritten even. So we will accept that. But it just make sure that you're working with a lender that does accept that, but it is doable. Lenders prefer spreadsheets. But yes, absolutely right, Veronica. We do prefer spreadsheets just because it's easier. You know, it's also the presentation of it as well, right? So if you're able to do that, it is preferable, but we do also accept it as well. The PowerPoint, some months we have a negative number if we are doing much marketing or have more hard expenses. With much money coming in the next few months, we don't always have a positive cash flow. Don, and then this might also be, and Don, I would have to scroll up to remember what it is that you do, but do you have some fluctuations in your cash flow throughout the year? Are you busier at sometimes and maybe slower in other months? That could be another solution where you may want to consider a line of credit to be able to smooth out those gaps. And there's short-term financing versus long-term financing. So that might be something that you may want to consider if you do go through seasonalities. I know my father did HVAC. So I remember he'd be really, really busy during the summer because of the air conditioning. People cannot handle the heat. And then versus in the winter, he would slow down. And because there wasn't as many people that needed a heater, they layer up versus when you're hot, you so those might be some things that you may want to consider, and there's definitely solutions. So definitely sit with your banker. If you don't have one, we have some here. And then, do you fund businesses in South Africa? We at Bank of America, we do if your revenue is a certain capacity, but it is not it's you would have to be a little bit of a bigger business. And then Don, it does look like you are having tremendous fluctuations. Sports celebrity business makes sense. So yes, you may want to consider doing a line of credit so that you can smooth out those gaps. I know that some clients, they close for a certain amount and they focus on another business, and that's maybe a busier season. So those might be some things that you may want to pivot, or maybe add to your offerings in the business. And especially during the pandemic, there was a lot of businesses that pivoted and actually added to the services that they offer. So that might be something else that you may want to consider, especially, in the entertainment industry. All right, software. So we talked about the Excel spreadsheet, but guess what? There's softwares out there that can actually help you manage your expenses and help you budget and help you with managing your cash flow. So especially if you keep it up to date, if you pull your profit and loss, that's going to give you a bird's eye view of what your full financial picture looks like for your business. So that might be something that you want to consider. Some programs could be like Zero, QuickBooks, and FreshBooks. The most common one that I've heard that a lot of clients use, because it also has other features such as invoices and things like that that can help you get paid faster, would be QuickBooks. But there's also some people that are now creating their own softwares based on their industry, including AI. So that those might be some things that you may want to incorporate as well. Now, saving. This is a big priority. It should be a big priority for you, because you just never know what's going to happen as far as our economy, environmental factors, certain economic conditions can negatively impact your business. So, because of that, you want to be able to be prepared to save some money. Now, I do know that maybe you are a startup, so it might be a little bit hard for you to save. But again, you may want to just start at the 1% mark. So your revenue is let's just say 200,000 or 50,000, whatever it is, just start somewhere. Start little, okay? And just start building it up, and as your revenue starts increasing, you want to increase that number maybe to 2, then 3%, and then just make it automatic. But having savings, especially during the pandemic, there was a lot of clients that suffered, and there were some clients that they were able to stay afloat while they got some help through SBA or the PPP, whatever help was there at the time, or whatever grants. So make sure that you set yourself for success. But not only that, but also investing in your business, investing back in your business with different solutions that are out there to be able to not only with revenue, but also investments that you may do for your business. Now let's talk about managing debt. So we talked about earlier about my example of my construction company that was able to increase $150,000 by obtaining a loan. As I mentioned, borrow only if you must and only when you need it. Okay, but this also, you may want to be proactive, because sometimes your business may grow faster then you see it growing. So you don't know how many times I've had clients where I see they're not collecting their payments fast enough, and I see a dramatic drop. So let's just say that usually whenever they come in and visit me, they usually have $100,000 in their account. And then all of a sudden they have 50,000. And I'm just thinking, like, historically, you've always had 100,000. So I start digging in. What's going on? What are your clients not paying you, or did you move your money somewhere else? And a lot of the times we were their only bank, and they just didn't were not collecting fast enough. So understanding your cash flow cycle, which I encourage you to eventually take that class, understanding your cash flow cycle will help you be proactive and get on top of it before you grow too fast. And believe it or not, there has been clients out there that have lost a lot of business because they grew too fast and they couldn't continue operating because they did not get the access to capital they needed in time. Okay. So borrow only if you must and only what you need, but also be proactive and know your business. Nobody knows your business better than you. It's your baby. You watch it grow, right? And you should be able to have that number in mind of, okay, by the 15th, I already have $5,000 in my account. Why is it I only have $2,000? So you want to get to the root cause as to what those reasons are. Make sure you understand a loan's terms, interest rate, and repayment options. So yes, if you go through a traditional lender, which Bank of America, US Bank, JP Morgan Chase, all of those, the banks are going to be your traditional lenders. Non-traditional lenders is going to be CDFIs, which are the community development financial institutions. We'll talk about it in just a moment, but they are able to fund you in the event that the banks cannot. Traditional lenders are going to give you the best available terms, best available rates. However, they do take a look at the past of what you've done, not the future. Okay. So they want to see history of what you've done in the past. When you go through a CDFI or an alternative lender, finance lender, they can take projections, and they can also help you if you're a startup loan or maybe you have some cash flow issues where the banks are not approving you. A lot of the banks are cash flow lenders. So what does that mean? They want to see that you're able to pay the lender back. So what does that mean? They want you to be profitable, which you want to be profitable as well to be able to obtain these loans. Calculate what you need to be obligated to pay monthly and make sure your business income can support it. So what does it mean? Include loan payments in your budget. Make sure that you can afford it and that it's not dipping into your profits, because if you go through a non-traditional lender, they can still give you the loan. But if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing with the loan, or the loan's not helping you in the way that it should, then this could negatively impact your cash flow as well if your payment is too high. So that could be something where you have to explore. If you're not 100% sure, make sure you're working with your business banker, even though you're going through an alternative financer, or make sure you're working with your accountant. Those are two major partners that you should have on your side to strategically plan for the growth of your business. Work with a financial professional if the amount you're borrowing is substantial. There has been times, right? Well, let's just say, I always tell clients, if you have an idea, a business idea, let's talk about it. Let's see how we can get you the funding. 75% of public companies are actually not funded by banks. They're not funded by CDFIs. They're actually funded by venture capitals or angel investors. So this may be, let's just say you have the next Uber. Everybody knows Uber, right? It's even international now. I go to Mexico and they have Uber out there too. So you may have the next idea like that, but guess what? You might not be able to get the funding for $1 million on starting up this business to get it launched and to get it taken off. So you may want to consider other ways of funding. So work with a financial professional if you have the amount you're borrowing is substantial. Now let's get into building business credit. We also have classes on this as well. And understanding building business credit is crucial for you to be able to set yourself up to be able to move to traditional lenders like the banks. Okay. Now, a secured card may be a good for your business. Always try to get a non-secured card, because what does that mean? You don't have to put the money to be able to get the line of credit. So just make sure that you try to go to your bank first that you have your business account with. And I'm going to say this, everybody should have a credit card. Not only does it help you with managing your operating expenses, but also delaying your payables. What does this mean? When you swipe your credit card, you get a grace period of where you don't have to pay any interest. So let's just say you swipe your card today and your statement cycle closes, I don't know, next month, then you can potentially have up to 45 days of a grace period of 0% no interest that you have to pay. And this is, again, understanding your cash flow, and it buys you some time to be able to make your money back so that you can make those payments. So develop good financial habits. I always tell my clients, if you have a credit card, it's not to get into debt, it's to help you manage your cash flow. Pay that credit card off on a monthly basis. Not only are you helping delay your payables, but you're also not paying any interest. And then cherry on top, be able to, a lot of these cards have rewards now, like 99% of them have rewards. And then that way you don't have to worry about the interest rate. So make sure you're developing those good financial habits and not get into debt. Make on-time payments. So making on-time payments, this could help you boost up your credit score. Even more so, if you pay 2 weeks before the due date, this could also help you boost up your credit score because of the way that the reporting goes. Rebuild and improve your business credit score. So this will help you with do that as well. And then apply for loans and unsecured cards in the future. But as I mentioned, try to apply for an unsecured card right from the get-go. There are some things to consider. Okay, if you don't make on-time payments, your business credit score can fall even more, especially with you already have a secured card. You don't want to hinder your credit score even more. And then many secured cards have higher interest rates than unsecured cards. So what does this mean? Let's try to pay those off on a monthly basis. So that way you can boost up your credit score, and then you're also not paying a higher interest rate. You got to remember, if you're getting a secured card, they're a little bit of a high risk. Even though you are securing them, they are investing in you because they are reporting to the credit bureaus. Also, make sure that these credit bureaus, these lenders are reporting to the credit bureaus both the good and the bad. And then often there's a fees associated with late payments and annual fees. The reason they do that is they have to pay to do the reporting for you on your behalf. So the best thing that you can do to save the most amount of money and maximize is pay your credit card off on a monthly basis. All right, so let me see. There's some questions here. Thank you. This is great information. Business line of credit may be something to consider. Yes, it's definitely something you may want to consider. Maybe the common question would be, when should a startup start saving money? I would say as soon as you can. And as I mentioned earlier, typically you want to be at that 10%. If you're starting off, start slow at 1% if it allows you to. If not, once you start generating a little bit of income, definitely, definitely make sure that you're at least saving the 1% and then work your way up to 10%. SBA and PPG loans and rent relief saved us during the pandemic. So appreciative of this. Absolutely, Don. Just make sure. Oh, it's like, can you hear me?
We can hear you now, but a minute ago,
Yeah,
yeah, it
yeah.
froze.
Okay. What was the last thing you heard? Do you know? I think I was talking about if you
Dawn and
were.
you were talking about Dawn, the SBA and the PP loans you had
Oh,
mentioned
okay,
how it
gotcha,
had helped
gotcha.
them. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay, thank you, Veronica. So yes, as far as the LA wildfires, I know we just went through that devastating time, which is, it negatively impacted a lot of people, unfortunately, in a large majority of an area as well. If you are negatively impacted, please let us know. There's resources out there available for you. There's grants available for you. And it could be maybe you were not directly impacted, but maybe your clients were affected. So maybe now they're not paying you. So now you're losing income. You have until October to be able to apply for help. So just make sure, if you know anybody, just make sure that you spread the word. The SBA is able to help you with that. Was that a recommendation to get secured or non-secured card? So Justin, you want to get an unsecured, the goal is to get an unsecured card. So always try to apply for an unsecured card in the event that you're not able to, because maybe your credit score is not up to par. Then in that case, you would want to apply for a secured card so you start building business credit right from the beginning.
Valerie, I think
Even
Jerry asked what's the difference between a secured and unsecured credit card?
okay. So a secured card is when the bank does not give you the actual line of credit. So let's just say, Jerry, for the sake of an example, you go into the bank and you apply for a regular credit card for your business. And they say, you know what? I'm sorry, Jerry. We were not able to approve you at this time. FICO score is too low. Let's just say that happens. Then you have an option. The lender may just decline you, or they may give you an option to apply for a secured card. What is a secured card? This means that they are not giving you a credit card with availability in it. You have to create your own. So at that point, the lender might say, hey, you have to deposit $1,000 or at least $1,000 in your savings account or a CD, and then we will give you a secured card of $1,000. So now you have a secured card that's going to help you build business credit, and it'll help you build business credit, and then now you have a credit card for the business that's going to show on your business credit report. And yes, does the credit card company look at your personal credit score? Yes, especially if you're first starting off, they're going to both run your personal and your business credit report if you're a small business. When they give you the credit card, what's supposed to happen is your personal credit report will have the inquiry, but it will not appear, the debt will not appear, or the credit card will not appear on your personal credit report. It'll only report on the business. But yes, they will heavily take a look at your personal credit score if you are just starting off. Thank you for that great question, Jerry. Okay, Adama, hopefully you were able to understand the difference. For the rest that actually had that question, sorry, probably didn't explain that correctly at the beginning. What about brokerage account for investing to small business for growth and income? Janice, if you are able to, I would say absolutely sit down with a financial or a wealth manager so that they can help you build a portfolio if you're already in a position to be able to invest for your business. And there's also sometimes some tax benefits that might come along with that as well. So great question, Janice. Absolutely, you should be investing in yourself personally and in the business as well to help you grow. Never. Oh, okay. Found the info. Yes, Janice. I couldn't hear you. Thanks, Don. I know. It was showing my. For some reason, I had a bad connection. Let me say that again. Jocelyn. Did I address your question, or did you need me to repeat it? What about the business credit to build personal credit? No. So both the if you're a sole proprietorship, Jocelyn, this means that if you are a sole proprietorship and you are using your social security number, this means you're not going to have business credit. Everything's reporting all under one. If you're a sole proprietorship LLC or a corporation and you're using an EIN number that you can get through irs.gov or with the help of your accountant, then it will help you build your business credit, not the personal. Hope that helps. What are all the ways we can build our credit? We're getting into that just right now. So today we go through it very briefly. If you want to know a little bit more, Don, you can always take our building business credit, which I believe we have that coming up in May. However, at the end, if I have a little bit of time, I will go ahead and share a link and where you can sign up for Bank of America, where you go directly to Bank of America to our event center, and you can take them there. But these are some of the ways. We don't get into it too much because we talk about all the different aspects of growing a business. But if you're looking to get more information about how to build business credit, we can definitely, you could definitely attend one of our classes or wait until May until I partner up with Pace to be able to do them. All right, so let's talk about borrowing. So being able to gather the important documents. So it is normal, even though you are a business, have a business, for them to ask you for your personal information. So they may ask you for a personal financial statement. What is included on there? They'll want to know how much is your rent or your mortgage, any investment properties that you have, any businesses that you may own, any liabilities, meaning anybody you owe money to, your credit cards, how much rental income you get. So a life insurance, how much money has a cash value. Also, if you have stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, they'll want to know that. So it all goes back to your personal information. So they may ask you for all that. Just make sure, I always tell my clients, the more information you provide to a lender, the better rates, the better terms you're more likely to get. And I always give an example. What if I came to you and I said, hey, I need to borrow $1 million and you're responsible for me paying you back? And I only say, hi, my name is Valerie Rivas. I need to borrow $1 million to get my business to the next level. Most likely, if you're responsible, you're not going to want to just give me the $1 million. You're going to want to know more information. So just think about that. So personal information, business plan and financials, especially if you're first starting off, this might be something that the lenders may ask you for. And then personal credit report along with your business credit report as well. Now, one of the first things that you want to think about is your borrowing need. Okay, so there's different borrowing needs. We talked about business fluctuations throughout the year, right? We talked about the sports and celebrities, how they may be busier in certain times. you may have fluctuations in your cash flow. So that may be a need that you may need to borrow some funds. You also want to have cushion against risk. We talked about earlier about my clients, how they were growing super fast. And then now they wanted to obtain $1 million contract and they were just not set up to be able to move forward. So guess what? Those clients lose out on that because they're not being proactive on their borrowing. And so now they're losing business to another competitor. And what if that competitor is giving you repeat business? Now you're losing on repeat business. So very important that you understand your cash flow cycle. Startup or expansion. So you may be starting up a new business or you want to expand. Maybe you want a secondary location or you want to expand to Washington or Texas, or maybe you want to go expand globally. That could be another need. Large purchase. I know during the holidays, a lot of distributors or manufacturing companies might need to do more toys or more gifts that they need to distribute or manufacture. So at that point, a lot of these clients will go ahead and borrow a large amount so that they can get their inventory that they need or the materials that they need to make to make the product. And then seasonal. It could be also seasonal. We talked about the fluctuations and seasonality. It could be a pool business really, really busy during the summer and then really slow during the winter because they're not using the pools. Or as I mentioned, my HVAC business that my dad had, he was really busy during the summer again and then not as busy during the winter. So these are all different borrowing needs. Make sure you identify it and that you know what those funds are going to be used for. But more importantly, share with your banker, what is it going to do to your business if you get this money? Is it going to increase your revenue? Is it going to create jobs? What is it going to do for your business? Line of credit, as I mentioned, these are for those service businesses that have repayment terms or seasonality. So lines of credit, unlike a credit card, okay, lines of credit, as soon as you touch them, the clock starts ticking where you start paying interest, okay? So very important that for line of credits, these are for short-term borrowing need. What does this mean? Don't carry the balance for more than 1 year. Try to keep it revolving throughout the year so that it helps you manage your cash flow. Or maybe you have a supplier or vendor that gives you discounts for paying cash. One of the benefits of the line of credit, it does not have a cash advance fee, unlike a credit card that could be really, really high. They don't have cash advance fees, but sometimes they have annual fees and sometimes they have also origination fees. So just make sure you're working with your lender to say what those terms are. And small business loans, there's traditional versus non-traditional. Traditional loans are going to be your major banks. And again, traditional loans take a look at your history. So what have you done in the past? Typically anywhere from 2 to 3 years. Non-traditional lenders, they can take a look at lending differently. So they don't do things traditionally, and they have different ways of they can actually do the type of lending. So they take a look at projections of what you'll do in the future. They'll take a look at your business plan. Maybe you don't have a resident alien card here in the States, so they might be able to get you funding. I know somebody actually just asked earlier if we can do international type of lending. Here at the bank, we cannot, but you might be able to do it through a non-traditional lender. CDFI loans, community development financial institutions. Now, CDFI loans, as I mentioned, these are non-traditional lenders. They are nonprofits that are government funded and funded by private companies that believe in their cause, which would be, we are actually a funder. We fund them as well. So we actually fund CDFIs so that they can create these loans in the event that the banks are not able to. Now let's talk about common mistakes. It looks like we have 8 minutes to go over these. Lack of planning. I'll give you an example about myself. 2007, I opened up an escrow company. At the time, business was doing well. 2008, market crash. Guess what? My business is non existent. I did not understand the real estate industry. I did not know it went through major fluctuations over the years and the market goes up and down. I did not know it was a roller coaster. So, guess what? I did not plan. So, my advice to you, if you have not started your business, take a look at the industry you are going into. See if it's essential. See if it's recession proof. What are some industry risks that you may encounter? So self reflect to see if you're ready personally and professionally to take a leap of starting your business. One piece of advice that I'll give you, if you're starting off a business, you may need some funding. And a lot of these lenders are looking for some sort of income because they're eventually going to have to be paid. So try to keep your job instead of just quitting one day because it's going to be really difficult for you to get a loan. Take the time necessary to ensure your business plan is thorough and comprehensive. And if you're not sure, there's some organizations, I believe PACE might also be an organization that can help you build a business plan, or they may have a template as well. We also have a class on how to build business plan, so that might be something else that you may want to explore. And then plan for slowdowns in your business. As I mentioned, your business might be fluctuating, so just make sure that you are prepared. Lack of research. What happened to me? I did not research the industry. So know where your industry is trending. Is it trending up? Is it trending down? Is it a thriving industry or is it a dying industry? Always bring up Kodak. Kodak was a film company that everybody needed to be able to develop some photos. Now everybody has their phone. Who needs a camera these days, right? Unless you're really into photography. I know we have a photographer here on the line today. But for the most part, everybody doesn't it went digital, right? So it's very rare. Like even myself, I'm guilty of not having pictures hanging all over my house because it's just not as common to do so, and it's not as convenient to do so, or as as it was before. But what happened to Kodak? They did not pivot appropriately, and they did not research on where their industry was going. So guess what? They're almost non-existent now. They still have some products out there, but they're not what they used to be. Conduct a competitive analysis. So who is your competitors and what type of things? Also take a look at your industry benchmark. Make sure that you have the proper margins, the profit margins. You may still be profitable, but maybe there's room of improvement there too. And then understand your customer needs and their preferences as well so that you can continue growing. Also, another reason is not getting support. So, guess what? Today you have two supporters, great supporters. You have Bank of America and PACE. Even though if we might not be able to help you directly here, we have nonprofit partners such as PACE that can go ahead and help you and also build an advisory board. So, everybody here, if you don't already, everybody should have on their speed dial, or not speed dial, on your contact list on your phone, an accountant, a business banker, a business attorney in case any contract arises, and an insurance agent. And based on your industry, it could also be somebody in technology, cybersecurity, so IT. So these might be vary based on your industry. So you want to have these advisors if something happens or your network is down. And let's just say that each day you're generating $30,000, let's just say, and then now your network is down. What are you going to do? You should have those resources available to you. Those contacts are ready to go. And you may be great at what you do for your business, but maybe you're not good at other things and where you may need a professional for that. So just make sure that you're aware of that and have the proper advisory board. This doesn't mean you have to pay them for them to be there. It's just in the event that you need them, they are there. You give them, they're a phone call away. Start or join a social media community related to your business. So we'll also have a social media type of class, and where we go through how to leverage social media and also explore the different personalities on social media. So as you know, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, those are all different personalities, and there's different ways of where you can be and where you can be, wow, I can't even think of the word, but and where you can actually thrive in social media platforms based on your industry as well. Maintain contact with your network. So being able to network with others where they can actually refer business. So I know that for example, work with different CDFIs such as PACE, accountants, also other industry specific nonprofits or organizations, and where they say, hey, Valerie, we need somebody that can open an account. You should have the same for your business. Make sure that you have your elevator pitch as well. And then seek out online support. Insufficient funds. You may want to start a business, but maybe you don't have the funds available to be able to get your business to the next level, or sufficient funds. So just make sure that you're managing your expenses appropriately. Automate your savings, as I said earlier. Overestimate your expenses for those unexpected and unforeseen situations. Take advantage of free checking accounts, or ask your bank how you can avoid the fee. And then, if possible, make quarterly tax payments. So make sure you're working with your accountant. Loan mistakes. You don't know how many times I've had clients, they say that they're going to use the funds to be able to hire employees, and then they end up using it to buy an investment property. And maybe that investment property went wrong. Well, guess what? Being able to understand the loan fees, also maintain good credit, don't over borrow, and then ask your advisory board for advice on securing an appropriate loan. Who's that going to be? Your accountant and your business banker. Those are two advisors that can help you get you to the next level and strategically plan for the future. Losing focus on cash flow, as I mentioned, being able to understand your cash flow cycle. So start thinking about how long does it take you once your service is done to you be able to get paid. If you're doing government contracts, it may be more than if you're a retail company. So just make sure that you understand your cash flow cycle, but then also stay on top of record keeping, managing expenses as they come, and then review your debt or loan repayment strategy to look for savings, and ensure you're not overpaying taxes or paying for duplicate coverage and insurance, which I've seen several times when I'm reviewing a P&L and a balance sheet. Now, key takeaways: being able to consistently manage your business and financing, being able to create a budget, savings, and managing your debt will help boost your financial health. And also consider getting a credit card for your everyday purchases. And remember, being able to pay on time will help you with a healthy credit score. But then also, if you pay early, that might also boost up your credit score even more. Also consider a secured card in the event that the bank does not approve you for a regular card. Small businesses could also borrow money in a variety of ways. This could be a line of credit if you're experiencing fluctuations in your business, or also if you're experiencing where some of your clients are slow paying you. And then also being able to do alternative financing such as CDFI loan. You can also visit www.accesstocapitaldirectory.com in the event that PACE is not able to help fund you. Let's just say maybe you need more than 350,000. Or you can also visit www.accesstocapitalconnector.com. That one's a little bit different. You fill out a little short form, and then we're able to guide you as to who might be able to help you. If you've been in business for at least 2 years, always check with your bank first. Small businesses often fail. We went through the different lack of planning, lack of research, lack of support, insufficient funds, loan mistakes, and poor cash flow management. So very important that you understand your cash flow management, and then you're also able to overcome these hurdles and hire somebody if you're not able to figure it out on your own. That's why you have PACE. That's why you have myself, and where we can guide you through the right direction. We're already at time, so those of you that need to log off, please do. But in the meantime, I will go ahead and go through the chat and see what questions we have.
We do have
How
one
can I?
question. Oh,
uh
we do have one question in the Q&A. So Ruth asks, how can I get an unsecured credit card for my Duca business? DOUK.
So, an unsecured credit card, I would recommend, Ruth, to be able to go to your bank that you currently have your business account. you're more likely to get approved. I mean, of course, I want to say come to Bank of America, but if we're not your bank, then definitely go to your bank first to be able to get a an unsecured card. If you're not able to get an unsecured card, then I would highly recommend for you to get a secured card, meaning you put the balance into your account. Very important. Whatever lender you're going through, make sure they report the good and the bad history, not just the bad. There's some lenders out there that only report the bad because it is cheaper for them. All right, so let's see here. Is it too much to have both business credit cards and line of credit? The credit card offset monthly operating expenses, but a line of credit to help offset cash flow. I don't want to open up too much credit. No, that is actually a great question. And yes, that is absolutely correct. It's great for you to know when you can use a credit card and when you should be using a line of credit. Operating expenses, try to use a credit card. If you're trying to manage your cash flow or your payments that you get from your clients, definitely use a line of credit. You could always sit down with your banker and we can give you a little bit more advice just based on your current situation. Great question. Tina, hi everyone. Sorry I wasn't able to submit this. Pure Business Solutions started in 2024. Okay, accounting, bookkeeping, business, consulting, advertising, branding, marketing, website development. Awesome. So if anybody needs any of those services, we have Tina here that can help you. Don, my PR and sports endorsements appearance on NIL business cash flow is based on what we sell. Oh, where did it go? It's moving. As our expenses are pretty much the same each year. So our challenge, it keeps moving. Our challenge is when we don't sell enough and bring new business or bring business from ongoing clients, our cash flow can be in trouble. Our business expenses are very modest. Well, you may want to consider and see what are some things that you might be able to do. Maybe in certain seasons, maybe hire some temp employees. That might be something that you may want to explore. Maybe an HR company that might be able to hire temporary employees to be able to keep up with the sales, the bringing in new business. So that might be a solution for you. Let's see. Thank you, Tina, for sharing your business. All right. I don't know if there's anybody else that has any questions. I don't see anything else. But let me go ahead and put my QR code in the event that you want to schedule an appointment. This week is a little busy, but I definitely have some time next week to be able to meet. It's already Wednesday, right? Oh my goodness, this month is going way too fast for me. I know we're only on the 2nd, but I just feel like we were just in March, and then March just
Oh,
felt like
yes.
everything feels like we're going fast. So,
I think it's the great weather we're having. But so I just want to thank you, Valerie, for of course another great webinar. And then also to remind everyone to join us for part 5 of the 5-part series. So it's pivoting a small business, how to pivot your business, keep your business moving, access to government or local relief programs. Yeah. So thank you everyone for joining us today for today's webinar. And I know there were several requests for today's webinar recording, which you shall receive, and then the handouts as well. And apart from that, just everyone have a great rest of your day. And thank you again for being part of PACE. And thank you, Valerie, for joining us and for another great webinar. Thank you very much, everyone.